Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 tricks carnivals don't want you to know. So we all know that carnivals are a ton of fun, but another thing carnivals are known for is you not winning any prizes. Well, don't worry, it's not you. The carnivals actually have many tricks which keep you from winning, but today we're finally going to be blowing it open and exposing carnivals for the tricks they use. Coming in at number 10 is darts. So we all know the classic game of pop the balloon with the darts. The carny gives you 7 or less darts and you have to pop some balloons to win a prize. Now it may sound easy to hit a balloon with a dart, and it is, but what's not easy is popping the balloon with a dart. The reason why is because the carnival's darts tips are blunted. This means they're not sharp enough to puncture many of the balloons, meaning unless you throw it very hard and very precisely, it will just bounce off. And the second way carnivals stop you from winning at this game is by only blowing up the balloon slightly. This means there's lots of rubber on the balloons, making it very strong. This means you have to hit a very tough balloon with a very blunt dart and try and pop it. Yeah, all of a sudden this game sounds a lot more tricky. Not only that, carnivals don't use regulation darts. In fact, they actually break the dart's center of gravity. What that does is stop making the dart fly accurately. This means the dart will go in wild directions no matter where you throw it. A few professional darts players actually did a test here and they couldn't even pop the balloons. So if a pro can't even do it, then what chance does a regular kid have? However, there is a few tricks you can use to counter the carnies tricks and win. If they've put a piece of paper in between it, then the dart won't be accurate, but usually not all darts are like this, so get another one. The next tip is to throw very hard. Most people don't throw that hard seeing as it's only a balloon, but that is a big mistake, as you need to throw very hard to try and puncture these very tough balloons. And finally, try and choose a balloon which is bigger than the others. This will mean the surface area of the rubber is much bigger, which will make the balloon more weak. And this will give you a much greater chance of popping it with a very blunt dart. Of course, this game is still fun, but at least now you can rest easy knowing that you're still macho and it's not you. It's simply a combination of a blunt dart and a very tough balloon. Next up is hoops and balls. Whether you're good at basketball or not, throwing a ball into a hoop isn't an impossible task. Except at the carnival. Why is it that every single time at the carnival when you try and throw a ball into a hoop, it bounces out or doesn't reach? Why is it that every time at the carnival when you try and throw a ball into a hoop, it doesn't go in? Well, it's got nothing to do with your balling skills. LeBron James probably couldn't do this. That's right, no matter how good you are at basketball, this can still be difficult as the hoop in carnivals is curved and bent. From the angle you would see it at, it doesn't look that bent, but once you go underneath it, you can see how bent it really is. And also, next time you're at a carnival, inspect the ball. You should be able to see that it's not pumped up correctly. The carnival folk pump it with way too much air so that it bounces and jumps up way more. And that's not all, they usually also put the hoop really high up and really far away from you. However, just like the darts one, there are a few tricks to get around the carnival's tricks. First off is try and be very accurate and consider the different hoop and ball size. Don't act like it's a regular hoop and ball because it's not. The next tip is to throw the ball very high, as the hoops look way lower down from your angle. And also you can counter the massive amount of bouncing and jumping the ball does with a curve. If you're not very good at basketball, you may know the trick of bouncing it off the backboard, but in this case it won't work. The ball has way too much air inside, so it will just bounce off the backboard. So don't try that trick method, as it simply does not work here. Instead, shoot high and with a curve and you may be able to do it. But remember, they're playing a lot of tricks on you here, so no matter how good you are at basketball, don't expect to win this. Next up is rope ladder. Now this is something that confuses a lot of people. When you see people failing on the rope ladder, you think, how are they messing up? That is until you step on it and realize it's impossible. What looks to be a simple task that you could complete in middle school is actually impossible at any age. But there are a few reasons for this. Firstly, if you look closely, you'll see the ladders are only fixed at one point instead of two. This makes it very easy to rotate as it's pretty much connected to nothing. And this also makes it very difficult for you to keep balanced, which is why everyone falls off. However, there are a few ways to win. First off, visualize it not like a ladder but as a tightrope. That's right, you need incredibly good balance to win this thing. Most people try and do this very fast to win, but that simply doesn't work, as it simply makes you lose balance. Instead, you need to make every move count and do it slowly. Move the opposite hand and leg simultaneously. It's best to use your left hand and then your right leg and then your right hand and your left leg and so on. That's the best way to keep balance and is also the same way you can climb a gym rope. You also have a much better chance of winning this if you're a young child. This is because you're smaller and have a lower center of gravity. So if you're a big guy trying to win a plush toy for your date, then forget about this game. It may not seem it as it's targeted towards kids, but the rope ladder is one of the trickiest carnival attractions. Let me know if you've ever won the rope ladder, and if so, are you a cat? Next up is basket toss. Now we all know the basketball toss. It looks so easy, but then you look so dumb when you can't do it. You simply have to toss 3 tennis balls into a basket to win. But on this attraction, the carny tricks you before you've even started. They act nice and give you a free try to win. However, that free try ends up working against you. This is because it sits in the basket and actually pushes all of the incoming balls out. That's right, when they offer you a free try at the beginning, say no, because that actually makes you lose. However, even without the free try, you're still set up to fail here. First off, the baskets are made of very bouncy material, which makes your ball bounce out. And also, the tennis balls they give you are not official tennis balls. They give you much lighter tennis balls than usual, which makes them bounce out. The only way to possibly win at this is to have amazing technique and accuracy, but I'm convinced even a professional billiards player wouldn't be able to do this. 2 good tips are to make your throw light to make sure it doesn't bounce out, and also to not spin the ball at all, as this will make it roll around the basket and then eventually fly out. The baskets are positioned at a very odd angle, which makes them fall out very easily, and if you look at the base of the baskets, they're actually indented. Yeah, that means they won't simply sit at the bottom and instead they will roll out. If you're looking to win, then this is definitely one carnival attraction to avoid. Next up is Bottle Pyramid. Now this one seems easy enough. You're given a bunch of balls and are told to toss them to knock some bottles down a few feet away from you. Now that sounds super easy, but carnival folk use one of the oldest tricks in the book here. They know most people will aim for the bottom 2 bottles. This is so the top one will fall down as well as the bottom bottles. Now that would be easy and all if it weren't for the bottles being filled with lead. That's right, carnival folk fill them with stones and lead to make them very heavy. And despite them giving you a baseball, it's usually a fake baseball which is very light. The lead inside the bottles are much more heavy than the baseball, making it literally impossible for you to hit them down. However, there are 2 ways to try and get around their tricks and win. If you're worried about being scammed, then ask permission to hold the bottle. If they don't let you hold it, then it's probably because it's filled with lead, so walk away. But if you still don't want to walk away and want to try their tricks, then you can do something to knock the bottles down even if they are filled with lead. But instead you should try and aim for the bottom of the 2 bottles to hit the lead. You need to toss the ball very powerfully, and hopefully that will be enough to knock the lead down and all of the bottles too. You have to have some serious strength to do this, so kids, don't even bother. But if you're a pretty muscular guy trying to win a plush toy, then try this out. Next up we have Duck Pond. So you may be thinking Duck Pond is the foolproof attraction which everyone wins. It's literally made for young babies who want a prize. Well, that may be true, but it's also one of the carnival's biggest moneymakers for a reason. If you look at the duck pond, there's lots of great prizes. But what most people don't know is that 99% of those ducks contain only minor prizes. And only one of those hundreds of ducks contains a jackpot prize. So those kids who keep on playing it only have a 1% chance of hitting the jackpot. This means even if they tried 100 times, they still likely won't have a chance. And the reason why it makes so much money is because kids play this over and over again to try and hit the jackpot. However, the kids and their parents have no idea that the jackpot is far out of reach. So next time you think the duck pond is an easy way to get some free prizes, then think again. So unless you want to fall for some serious carnival tricks, then avoid those duck ponds. Next up is star shooting. We all know star shooting. It's a game of accuracy where you use a BB gun to shoot out a star on a target. Now some people think this is easy if you have a good enough shot, but no matter how good you are at shooting, you're still not going to win this one. And here's where it gets scientific. The reason you don't win at this is because of something called Newton's third law. This is all about actions having reactions. Think about it, when you've used your BB gun to shoot out the whole star, you're left with a small part. However, as it's the last piece of star, there's no paper around it. This means there's not enough resistance to shoot out the last piece of paper, meaning of course it's pretty much impossible to shoot out the entire star. Most people think this is simple accuracy in target shooting, but actually science makes it impossible. However, some military people have actually given away a secret technique to win at this carnival attraction. That's right, we literally had to bring in the army to figure this one out. What you can do is shoot a circle around the star. Then you need to use the last few remaining BBs to push the star out. This should form a perfect circle on the target, shooting out the star completely. Now of course you need to be pretty accurate to do this and also pretty good at shooting. But if you are, then that's the only chance you have to win at this. There's lots more information on Newton's third law online, but in layman's terms it means this carnival attraction is a big fat scam. Next up is baseball pitching. So we've already covered that no matter how good you are at basketball, the hoops and balls game is impossible. Well, the same is true if you're good for baseball. If you're good for baseball, that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be good at the baseball pitching game. The baseball pitching game is simply where you measure the speed at which you can pitch a baseball at. Your score is measured with a baseball radar gun, but that's also where the carnival folk trip you up. You see, their baseball radars are tweaked. You see, their baseball radars are tweaked and actually show your speed at 10% less than it usually is. So if you throw a ball at 20 miles an hour, then it will show up as 18, or if you threw it at 100 miles an hour, then it would only show up as 90. It may not seem like a big deal, but it can mean the difference between you winning and losing. You're supposed to guess what your speed would be, but seeing as the radar measures inaccurately, this pretty much makes that impossible. But of course, seeing as I told you how the radar is crooked, you can actually use that to your advantage now. Simply guess your speed like normal, but then take off 10%. Just don't pull your calculator out in front of the carnival folk, or they will know you're onto them. Instead, simply calculate it in your head and then subtract that from your guess. So if your regular guess would be 30 miles an hour, then make it 27 miles an hour. Or if your regular guess would be 90 miles an hour, then make it 81 miles an hour. It's very simple basic math you can do in your head, which makes this a pretty easy game to trick. The alternative is you can pitch it very slowly and then give a fairly rough answer like 10 miles an hour or so. However, some carnival folk may catch you out and actually kick you off the game. So try this one at your own risk. Next up is ring toss. Now this is one of the biggest scams at carnivals, and I recommend not playing this game at all. It sounds pretty simple. You're asked to toss a ring on top of one of many bottles. However, there are a few factors that stop you from winning this. The rings are made of hard plastic, meaning they won't go very far, and also they're only slightly bigger than the neck of the bottle, meaning it's almost impossible to win and they almost always bounce off. There's pretty much no way to get around your tricks except having a perfect throw. So if you have spidey senses, then maybe try this one out, but otherwise I would leave it to the professionals. Or should I say the fraudsters. However, one thing you can do to increase your chances is make your ring spin. This sounds counterintuitive, but it actually stabilizes the ring when it lands on the bottle. This makes it less likely to bounce off and makes it more likely to stick on the neck of a bottle. Have you ever won this carnival attraction? I'm guessing no, as it's pretty impossible. But if you have, then massive congrats to you. Now this one isn't so much about a carnival game, but the whole carnival itself. Let's say you win the biggest plush toy they have at the carnival. Now you may be happy about this, but you shouldn't be. That is because you likely spent 10 times more than what it would have cost to buy it online. Carnival toys are insanely cheap as they're all pretty badly made and made in China. One of the most expensive plush toys probably costs a maximum of $10. However, for a player at a carnival, it can cost them hundreds of dollars to win it. And the smaller toys sometimes only cost a few cents, so if you just want the toys, then simply buy it online. Of course, this does take out all of the fun, but if your kid's nagging you to win a toy, then simply buy it online later. That way you can potentially save hundreds of dollars. I'm not saying don't enjoy the carnival, but just know you are getting ripped off. But hopefully if you use a few of the tricks in this video, you can get around their tricks and actually win some stuff first time. But of course, if all else fails, Amazon Prime exists. Check out the poll in the top right corner to vote for the biggest carnival scam. And be sure to check out my second channel for amazing life hacks and even DIY slimes. There'll be a link to that channel on screen in a moment, so click it to check it out. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.